few years, this was years ago, but my daddy has a minor child that still live with my stepmom, so he was paying, you know. And my mama called her, told don't ever call my child.
Nothing.
Ask
Cause my child be calling me to come take care of him.
and that's what she said. I'm like,
So
you
you don't
know,
call
No.
my child.
No, the stepmama shouldn't be moving now.
My bit of advice is I would put it up for sale. Everybody get their share and peace out.
yeah,
Because that was the arrangement with my brother-in-law. And $20,000, $24,000 later ethics fines.
mm. That's what my mama wants me to do is sell my shirt, but they can't afford it. We got to get the house appraised.
Don't make your problem my problem. Take your share of your money and go buy you a house.
Like,
And
what?
at the end,
Yeah.
something gonna go right. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you. No matter how good your heart is,
Yeah,
or if you do that, what I would do, what you want to do, I would say, hey, I'm gonna give up my share, but I want to make sure everything legal. I'm off of it. Liens, whatever y'all don't do, y'all don't pay the water bill. I want my name off of it.
yeah.
You know.
I gave my sister and my part in my mama's house.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever y'all want.
Move on. I just, you know, just like I told you, we got to do something at barber shop because somebody go there and get hurt, stealing the daddy name, your liabilities tied up in it. It's just, whew. It's something that, you know.
Yeah.
I told him.
And the uncles, I mean, he didn't, you know, him and my stepmom technically was divorced.
Oh,
You
he
get
wasn't-
what you got in that divorce.
So-
You don't get nothing
So he
else.
wasn't married anymore?
Huh?
So he was no longer married?
No.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, she need to go sit down.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah, you gotta go sit down. You out, ma'am.
Take what you got in the divorce. He bought them cars after the divorce. Now you want one of the cars, but you don't even drive like that. My sister carry you around. I don't. It don't sit right with me, especially after what she said at that funeral home. She said a couple of things that really rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, I've been rocking with you for 30 years, but this when your true colors come out.
Oh, yeah, when they pass away. You
When
see it
somebody
all.
die, you know it.
You find out everything about
She
it.
said at the funeral home, she said it's like because the insurance hadn't come in yet, so all of us was gonna put in, you know, to pay for everything. We had no problem with that. That was fine. We said you're gonna put in. She said I gotta pay my rent. I'm gonna put in $100, ma'am.
Yeah.
First of all, what you was gonna? Cause she thought she was gonna get some money. It's like what you was gonna do before you had to pay. You knew you had to pay the rent. And you not passed. What was you gonna do?
She gonna give $100. Wow.
Tom, I gotta tell
I
you.
was too through.
Oh, really?
He said he wasn't gonna be with this when you were
Yeah,
with
Mark
Tom.
is supposed to be reading.
Okay. I had to ask them if they left these new chairs. They broke them in yesterday.
Mm. They was used when they said.
That's right.
What's up, Mr. Garrett?
Councilman Brooks,
How you?
you clean today?
I just finished 18 holes at the golf course. You know, I love the country
Ooh, I like
clubs.
some shoes. Yeah, GB. Your seat right here.
Oh, that's right.
Hey,
Got one
Jackie.
meeting we're at.
Oh, hello.
Nobody coming to speak?
We have a garage with
Friday.
I know the garage is empty.
Hey, Miss Jay.
Everybody on
Okay.
vacation.
I know it. I said we should have did this Tuesday.
That's what I said.
Yep, Tuesday would have been better.
I said we voted on it. I don't remember voting on it.
We okay, yeah.
Yeah,
We-
oh,
we-
Mm-hmm. Hey, Miss Jay.
I'm good.
How you
It was
doing?
good.
Anyway, them
Look,
live on.
I told Green to get my hair fixed. I washed it myself last night and went up.
What's up, Pete?
It is what it is. I just washed
You all right?
All right, you and James, Pastor Green,
But I got boots on. I got on an old toe-up jacket.
I just figured since he had on his shawl.
I got on an old toe-up jacket. Each
So,
y'all.
That's at Crestwell Toner.
Morning or
What's up,
afternoon.
Mr.
How you doing?
How you doing? Hey y'all.
Doing the meeting today?
Can I have an agenda, please?
It should be one next.
You got one?
You can have mine.
We have a.
Hello?
What's up, Mr. Mayor? I forget we got these nice new chairs. I keep
I know.
thinking I'm gonna go all the way
They do,
back.
you can't indeed.
They different.
There's 2 empty lots in that house.
Oh, really?
And then that,
Hey, Chief.
what's in where that Domino's
Thank
Pizza
you.
used to be?
Okay,
Ma'am?
I was speaking to the chief.
Oh,
okay, we got it.
Is it like a Kim seafood or something? Well, there's something in there. You know what Domino's used to be? Yeah, that, yeah.
Hey, what's up?
I missed your call. I didn't get a chance to call you.
okay. Grayson and I are trying to.
Three. So we good.
Taylor,
Taylor, Talavera, and
Okay.
Jackson.
oh, by two, that's a bit.
Anita,
Jackie, y'all got any cups?
2504 Ridge Lake Drive.
Nah, I just wanna get a little of that stuff Gary got.
I sure agree.
Jackie, I'm just playing.
Yeah, the whole model.
Not a swivel, not a swallow.
Go to me, start. I
But
just.
we have a four.
Okay.
Whoever that is, that sent yes, sir. They didn't send they just left the address. So we got to decide at the house, the property. Good thing you said this now. We didn't know what they were talking about. And then when you sent the pictures, I'm like, what, they should have sent us the pictures the first go round and we would
Well,
have.
you know what? I think that since the city,
Three more.
I think they sent it, so somebody checking this stuff.
And sent back 3 or 4 times.
311? It's going to the wrong one. Okay. That's, so the department administrator needs to change the routing.
She did, I hadn't even.
But I talked to Fred.
Come on, Spring.
I
I'm just here.
talked to Fred.
Yeah, I'm just here because they called me. I'm on spring break. This my last week next week.
I'm gonna send y'all your maps. So y'all can where we're gonna be cleaning up. I'm gonna need some publicity.
Jackie says we do.
We'll do it live.
Jackie,
We have a four. I'm not on the board.
Green on the board.
I started the first time.
Here, RJ.
Okay.
Marcus.
Marcus.
If I'm not on the board,
You,
Green or not.
you ain't got a quorum.
The mayor,
He ain't got
the
a
chief.
quorum.
You can't start right now.
Need to wait for Tabitha?
Or maybe you could start but not vote.
3 of the 5.
Right, you'd have to ratify any actions that were taken, so you wouldn't be able to.
I'm doing anything. So we gotta wait for Tabitha.
You can discuss stuff, you just can't vote.
Jim's not coming.
Okay, well, you could listen to him, but we can't take any kind of action.
We do.
Is Tabitha
We
coming?
have a quorum.
Who?
The mayor, Chief Smith, and Brooke, and Councilman Brooke.
They on the,
They on the,
They 3 of the 5.
okay.
the only one missing is, Councilman.
And Councilwoman Taylor.
Correct. You have 3 of 5.
No, it's six. It's six, well,
Yeah, Marcus said we can go ahead and open the meeting up.
but just don't take it.
It just don't vote anything.
How come this chair leans back better than mine? Let's talk about that first. I don't like my chair. We don't have anybody to say anything. I'm surprised. Yeah. Like to call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting for May 23rd, 2025. I don't think I have any opening comments other than John Settle. I don't see anybody to have any public comments. Do you have any? I really didn't. No.
All your legislators, if you want to speak in, how about that? Stop picking on the mayor.
Can we approve the minutes? We can't do that yet?
Not yet.
Okay, we'll just move on to agenda items. Chief Smith?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Chief. The first agenda item, and I think you and Deputy Chief White had updated us, maybe the meeting before last, on the 148 new vehicles, the police vehicles.
148?
Didn't we have the 148 behind the city jail over there?
No, sir, we had 47.
Oh, 40, yeah, I don't know where I came up with 100.
I'm finna say, I'll take them. If you tell me where they're at, we'll sure go get them today.
They're over in Longview. What, you know the status of, are they all out in the field now?
Pretty much so. We had ordered 58 new vehicles last year, and all of them were not patrol vehicles. Some were pickup trucks to go up to lake patrol, 5 of those. So when they're not on the lake, they can be patrolling the areas around the lake or assisting with calls. But anyway, to make a long story short, 58 new vehicles is what we had ordered. 54 of them have been complete and is in service. There are 4 still left to be outfitted, and they are waiting on parts. Some of them came in damaged and had to be returned, so that is that 4. But 54 of the 58 are in service.
Okay. So pretty much all of them are out in the field now.
That is correct, yes.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. The item B, the firing range. Do you know where we are as far as that being completed?
Absolutely, I do. And we had a great PowerPoint, and my guy's running just a little bit late. But
We
the
can
firing,
come back to that one if you'd like that.
but I can tell you about it, but he'll be here in a second. The firing range, for the most part, is complete. It's about 99% complete. As a matter of fact, this past Monday, we did a test run on it. They are waiting a glass that they need for the control booth, but it's about 99% complete. And the estimate is next week that will arrive, and it will be 100% operational.
A glass for the control booth?
For the control booth, yes. There's a control booth right in front of all the shooting lanes where the instructor is in that booth controlling what's happening out on the firing range.
So I'm guessing it's a bulletproof glass?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as a caveat to that, for your own knowledge, all of our police substations, the front of those have bullet-resistant glass also, just a little
Okay.
tidbit. Don't go shoot it and try it now, but it is. Yes, ma'am.
On the firing range, I see that he's not here today, Mr. Dark. Do you have any idea what it costs to get us to this point?
Absolutely. It was 2-point-something million. What was it? I think it's 2-point-something million. I have it here in my notes, just can't find it. Let me see. You have it? $2,144,000 is what it costs.
Okay.
But it is state of the art. What we had was way outdated. The lead was contaminating people who use it. It was way. I went through there in 1980, and nothing had changed since 1980. The metal, we've had to have it welded several times. The ventilation system was not adequate. I'm really surprised that state hadn't shut us down earlier than we did, but we're state of the art now. We're up and operational.
And this may be for you or for the mayor. Where did that $2.1 million come from?
I don't know the answer to that question, Mr. Brooks.
I can answer it. It was part of the bond package. I had put an allotment in there, and the bond committee saw our needs, and that's where it came from.
The 2021 bond,
That's correct.
the one that's building the substations?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am.
Item C, update on potential locations for Southeast Shreveport Police Substation.
Yes, sir. We looked at an alternative. We found the very best location that we could for Southeast, which was Cedar Grove Park at 6901 St. Vincent. That is an established park that the city owns, that the use of it was pretty minimal. So that is the best location that we could find. Back in before 21, when we were going from neighborhood to neighborhood, having community meetings, asking for suggestions for locations, the community out there had suggested right across the street from it, in front of the fire station, there's a vacant lot right beside Southern Classic Chicken, and we were concerned about the size of it. So we are right where the community had suggested back then anyway. And this is an excellent location that I believe, because of that location and what's already there development, it could be fast-tracked, and a new one could be built on that location with minimal time wasted, because there ain't no demolition really to do. And to make it so ideal, we were really excited about this location, as much or more so than any, because it is a park, and we're able to build our facility there, readjust what's already there, all the playground equipment, the basketball court, the baseball field, everything will remain in place. And in addition, as a caveat to that, and he'll show you in just a minute, there is room for a small football field. We interact with the community, with kids throughout the year, and often one of our challenges is finding a suitable location to do it. Now, we have all that in place with this location. Just recently, we met with a national organization called PALS, which is Police Athletic Association, and their mission obviously is for people in government, law enforcement, to interact more with the community. Once I showed them this and kind of our plans moving forward, they were unbelievably excited to partner with us, and according to them, this, once we get it developed, this could be a national model for the entire country of what the police, what a city can do to get its police department more embedded in the community, and collaborating and being more responsive to our area youth. We're extremely excited about this location. And when I told them that the city of Shreveport, for the next few years, to make it easier for youth and kids to get to the park, there is a bus hub in this park where anybody can ride for absolutely free. Monday afternoon, I spent quite a bit of time there, Chris and I, with the news media doing a feature story on it. But I got there early and had the opportunity to go out on the basketball court and get beat by some little boys. They beat the stink out of me. But anyway, here's what touched my heart. One of the kids was from that community right across the street. Another young man was from out off of Burt Coon, close to Southwood High School, that had come over there to spend the day with his little friend. And after they beat me so bad, what touched my heart the most is the little boy said, "Officer, when you coming back so we can play some more?" To me, that was so touching and so encouraging about our future mission. If you look at the monitor, this is at the corner of 70th and St. Vincent. You'll see our building there. You'll see the basketball court next to it, parking lot next to it, Sportran bus hub, and the baseball field. We just moved it over in an empty field that wasn't getting used anyway. Right behind our police station, I talked with Mr. Delancey the other day, and there is room for about a half football field that, it's already level. All we need to do is cut the grass and stripe it. So it's the best of all the worlds. I'm really, really excited about this. Back in the late 90s, when I was doing research on substations and went to Wichita, Kansas did exactly what we're doing now. They took the opportunity to build a new police station and a fire station jointly together, called it a public safety facility, but they built it in the city's parks. So we are following suit with a trend, except we're going to be a lot more innovative with this. I'm looking very, very forward to it. One of the things that's, when I say this can be fast-tracked, all of our substations are the same footprint, the same design, so we won't have to go through the design phase and all of that stuff that takes time and time again. All we need to do is get it zoned, do a site plan, or locate where the city utilities are, send it out for bid, and get to rolling.
Yes, sir. Councilman Green?
Chief,
Yes, sir.
where's the model for the substations coming, which district the model is coming from?
One on
the
Monkhouse Drive?
Okay,
Uh,
thank you, Chief. We don't have a football field, but we got the model, so I just want.
But let me tell you, though, there's a lot to be proud of there also.
Oh, I understand.
That's about a 13-acre tract, and we have great plans for its future. We're going to partner with Sportran. The majority of that is concrete, hard paving. Right now, we have driving training, the fire department, Sportran, Public Works. It is our plan to develop that site for a city of Shreveport driving track, so we don't consistently compete with people on the fairground and destroy that asphalt. You'll have that out in your area. No one else will have that. And to go along, to couple with that, during our major events like the Independence Bowl, where the city have to contract to St. Vincent Mall for off-site parking, now the city of Shreveport will have their own parking. That place will probably hold 3,000 vehicles, if not more. The city will have their own to work with. So more great ideas is coming for the future for that location.
So Chief, this is going to be the permanent substation.
That is correct. That will be permanent for Area 2, a brand-new facility. Area 2 boundaries, which we set the boundaries so that can be moved at any time, is a couple of 100 feet from there. On the east side of I-49 is the Area 2 real boundary. I-49 is. This butts up to I-49 on the west side, so you're talking about minimal couple of 100 feet, if that. Also, this week, we had the opportunity to look at an alternative for Area 2, further up inside Area 2. What you see on the screen now used to be KRMD radio station. It's on Alexander Street, right on Centenary's campus. Centenary has purchased this building. Behind it, you see the Gold Dome. Immediately to the right of it is their baseball field. Immediately to the right of that is their football field. The building is suitable, although parking will be a challenge, because I think they really bought it not necessarily for the building, but for the additional parking. But here's our dilemma. To get in that location on a temporary basis for about a year, I would estimate the cost to be at least a bare minimum of $132,000. The lease on that place, the minimal commercial lease, and we hadn't discussed it totally in detail, would be about $6,000 a month plus. It is not ADA compliant. That is the big issue there. We could not get a certificate of occupancy with a public building by it not being ADA compliant. With ramps to get in, adequate parking, bathroom facilities, and the things that a public building have to have. The ADA compliance, to get it in code, would cost a minimum of around $30,000. And there again, we're spending a lot of money into somebody else's building that we're only going to be there for 10 to 12 months. To retrofit it for our needs, which is bringing fiber to it, running computer line, alarm system, lighting, and so forth, would be at least $30,000 plus. So you can see right there, we're into around $132,000 we're spending for something for about a year. Just in my personal opinion, I don't think it's feasible. I think we would be better served spending that money on the location that's going to be permanently the city's. That's just my opinion about it.
So we've gone from the permanent substation to a possible temporary. We're discussing a temporary substation here, correct? At the KRMD building?
That we looked at that as an alternative because
As an
someone
alternative to
had
what?
brought it.
As an alternative to Kingston Road?
Yes, sir, for area
Yeah.
two, only for area two. Area
Right.
4 is still going to Kingston Road.
Right, we're leasing Kingston Road no matter what.
That is correct. And
Right.
And part of the strategy in leasing Kingston Road, because of its size, and it could effectively and efficiently house area 2 and 4 without any complications until the St. Vincent location is up and going. And then area 2, with all its resources, would be relocated there.
To the permanent substation.
That is correct. Yes,
Right.
sir.
My only concern, and this is, I think, before we found the Cedar Grove Park, was how long are we going to be on Kingston Road for Area 2? Because I feel that that's too far west
Sure,
to service Southeast Shreveport.
sure,
But
sure.
you're recommending that you don't think it's a good idea, for lack of a better term, to put this money into this KRMD building when we're only going to need it for a year or less.
That is correct.
That's your recommendation, that we just use Kingston Road?
We
as a
use Kingston
temporary-
Road from now, and we proceed full speed ahead with building the one at St. Vincent and 70th Street, which the contractors on Monkhouse moved extremely quick and did a quality job. It would be less than a year from when they get to go ahead before that site would be completed. And to make sure things are clear, Kingston Road location was never meant to be permanently for 2 and 4. But we had to move to try to find something to get out of our building. We were always constantly looking for a suitable location for Area 2. As a matter of fact, back in the early 2000s, when we went out to the community, was looking for location for police substations, it was pretty much confirmed that for South Shreveport, using what the city already owned, the back of Southern Hills Park which is directly across the street from King's Temple, would be the site for the Area 4 substation whenever funding came about. Directly across the street that the city already owns, Southern Hills Park. So we're within, a couple of feet of where the permanent one would eventually go anyway.
I don't think anyone has any concerns about Area 4
Yes.
being on Kingston Road. What I wanted to ask you on the record is Southeast Shreveport, Broadmoor, University Terrace, Shreve Island, do you feel like they can be serviced during this year? Their calls can be answered expeditiously from Kingston Road?
Absolutely. A thing to understand about police substations, officers come for their administrative duties, get their automobiles if they don't already have one, and they go into the field. That won't change. That's what's happening at 1234 Texas Avenue right now. So their response time, their responsiveness to the community will only get better with substations because they're embedded in the community. But no service will be lost no matter where they are. If y'all were to tell me all the substations are scrapped, we're going to go back to 1234 Avenue, Texas Avenue, service would remain the same.
Okay. That's the only concerns I've gotten from a few people is how are we going to service, for instance, Shreve Island, which you know where that is,
Yes.
from Kingston Road. But
They're
in
not
theory-
staying there.
In theory, they're not supposed to be at the substation.
That is correct.
Right.
That is only your administrative home. Where you work out in the community is where you will be.
So along those same lines, the permanent one on St. Vincent at West 70th, you don't feel like that's too far west
No,
for
sir.
Area 2?
No, sir, not at all.
Because once again, they should be in their patrol cars
That's
after they check
exactly right.
in or out or whatever.
That is correct. That is
Okay.
correct.
Thank you. Councilwoman Taylor?
Who's gonna be at the substation?
Ma'am,
Who's going to be at the substation?
which one?
Any of them? If
Uh,
you're gonna have your officers that are out on patrol, but who's going to be at the substation? Who's gonna be at the substation for Area 2? Because my concern is still the same. I think it's still far out for that particular area that's having so much happening in it right now. I wish it was something at St. Vincent Mall or somewhere where there would be a presence in that area, especially with so much that's going on in that area. That's the concern for me. I know what you all say about checking in and doing all of that, but administratively, most of the time, don't you all have your commanders or whomever for the areas?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they remain at the substation?
That is correct.
Yeah,
The
so-
captain will be there, his executive officer will be there, a duty lieutenant will be there. That's the one who schedules everyone to work.
So in hindsight, you're gonna have like 2 sets of command staff in there because you would have it for Area 2 and 4, or is it?
That
just
is
one?
correct. That
Now,
is correct.
That's the concern for me.
That's correct.
That's a concern for me, for the people who live in Area 2, for that if they need something, like people in Area 1 can come up to the substation wherever they are in that surrounding area. Area 2 has to leave out of their area, go to Southeast Shreveport, and have someone to talk to there because all of their command staff is there, regardless of the people who are out in the field, because the people out in the field are going to be the people out in the field anyway.
Right, right. This will be only for less than a year.
I know, but it's a lot can happen in a year.
Sure,
I'm just,
absolutely.
I'm just saying that's the caveat for
Sure.
me about putting it out there. That's
Sure.
why I said that I wish that it is something that at St. Vincent Mall or somewhere else in the area where you have some level of adaptability that Area 2 could have a presence in that area.
Sure.
Because there's so much going on in that area.
Sure. And we'll continue to look. In the meantime, if any of you know or anything that might be available, please let me know, and I'll be happy, more than happy, to go and look. But, as I said to you, Councilman Brooke, the Alexander location, you would be minimum spending around $132,000 for 10 months to a year. Another location was across the street from that a vacant building, a house that a lady owns that she was wanting to let us have. Same predicament. But if someone knows something, please let me know. We'll be happy to go and look. But I just wanted to make sure you knew what the cost for 10 months would be at a bare minimum. It could be a lot more than that. But, you know, by us being a government agency, anything we occupy have to be up to code and legal, or we never get a certificate of occupancy.
So I think touching on what Councilwoman Taylor's asking, on a day-to-day basis, who actually will be in these substations? How many officers?
The captain, his XO, and a duty lieutenant or an officer that may come to sit down and do some basic paperwork. But the officers in themselves, they come to roll call, get their assignments, and within 10 or 15 minutes, they're headed to the area wherever they are patrolling, and they don't come back until the end of shift.
Of their shift?
In their shift.
Okay, so on an average, there would be 2 to 3 officers per area that stayed in the substation all day?
That is correct.
Okay.
And they stay at 1234 Texas Avenue now, so nothing is changing.
How soon are we getting them out of 1234 Texas?
Ma'am?
How soon are we getting them out of 1234 Texas?
I have an update for you whenever you want me to. I can tell you
We can
where
talk about it now.
Okay. The Traffic Bureau is gone. They are at 5415 Interstate Drive.
This is not part of the substation conversation?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Thank
well, we can ask this at the regular meeting, I guess. That's not, 1234 is not actually on the agenda,
You got it. You got it.
so. Anyone else?
But this, what you see is Centenary's location, and it would be.
I think parking's gonna be a nightmare there.
It is about 20.
I go to their football games and you already can't. How are they gonna facilitate us and the
directly in
football
fr-
crowd?
Directly in front of the building, you see 26 spaces. That is.
But, well, they need all of them.
That's all. We need more than that.
Yeah,
Using the North Market location right now as an example, how many did you tell me, about 55 or so? We average 55 spaces being full every day just with us, not the community. Only 26 here is all we have that's dedicated to us. Everything else is free, open game, and they did tell us, you know, we're free to use any of the other parking space, but on days when events are occurring at any of their facilities, then ain't nothing guaranteed.
right. All those spots will be full.
Yes, sir.
On
that
a
is-
baseball or particularly a football.
That is
day.
correct.
Uh,
Up in Area 1, we got 66 people that occupy that substation. That's 66 automobiles.
But that come and go.
That's
We
correct.
just touched on there
That's
should only be
correct.
2 or 3 there all day.
That is correct.
Okay. But at any given time, you might need 60 spots, or
Absolutely.
give or take. I'm not holding-
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't see how that's gonna work there.
It would be a challenge. We would have to, on event days, figure out where we're going to put vehicles. We'd have to move them off-site somewhere or another. It could be
Yeah.
challenging.
Well, if we're talking about 10 to 12 months, in my opinion, let's not get into something that already seems like it's logistically gonna be a problem.
Right.
If we're not gonna do, I forgot the name of the street, out there with Area and 2 together. What street's it?
Kingston Road.
Kingston Road, then I don't think this is a good alternative. I agree with Councilwoman Taylor. I still think Kingston Road is too far west.
Sure.
And I see what you're saying about they're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to check in and get out in their vehicle,
That
but
is correct.
I would prefer it be St. Vincent, maybe the Shreve City Baptist Church that I think Mr. Dark talked to the lady that we just granted zoning. This is geographically a good location.
Sure.
I just don't think it's going to work parking-wise.
I agree. I definitely agree. And bringing it up to code would take quite some time. That ain't an overnight thing. That could take months and months and months.
Well, then we might only, that being said, if we start on St. Vincent at West 70th,
We could be in there.
we'd be moving in and moving right back out,
That is
theoretically.
correct. That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Anyone? Mhm. Who?
Chief, have we already put in a zoning change for St. Vincent? Have we already done that?
I understand there's been some conversation about it, and it can be easily done.
Okay.
For the permanent one?
That is correct.
Yeah.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And Madam Vice Chair, we anticipate that there will be an amendment to the Unified Development Code that will make the substation a use of right in its current zoning classification, and that'll come to you. So we anticipate that the MPC will act on that in June, and and so the zoning question will be taken care of. We will not have to change the zoning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the substation? No?
Also in Area 2 is where administration and support will be located on South Point Parkway. We have already began that move there. 12 people are there right now, including police officers. And it's probably 2 or 3 times more is going to be occupying that entire complex very, very soon.
Is South Point Drive, is that off of Ninth Street?
Yes, sir, right behind
Okay,
Walmart.
I know where it is. Yeah, now that's east.
Mm-hmm.
That, you can't hardly get any farther east than that.
I agree 100%.
Okay, and there'll be more officers there than there would be out on Kingston Road? There'll be more officers that stay at South Point?
No. But I was just saying, I don't know exactly how many will be there, but we've got 12 people that relocated there this week, and the rest of administration and support will be locating to that area location within the weeks.
So along the lines of what Councilman Taylor was saying, could a citizen go to South Point and speak to an officer, or will they have to go to Kingston Road?
No, so they can go to South Point.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right, thank you.
I'll be there. My entire staff will be there. Records will be there. That's where citizens will go and get police reports if needed. Human resources will be there. There'll be quite a few uniform officers that will be there that someone can come in anytime and speak to. ABO will be there. Blue Line Solutions will be there. Everything pretty much outside of patrol.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you. Agenda item D, SPD policies and actions. I think Councilwoman Bowman asked for this to be added to the agenda concerning cruising.
Absolutely. Captain Kelly, you got this slide? I'm gonna let Captain Kelly talk about that. She's been intimately involved in that portion of it and what's happening on weekends and what we're doing.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Okay, for the cruising, we're pleased to announce that we have in place a unified, standard operating procedures from which we address cruising. We have our directed patrol units. We have changed the hours and days for downtown units, so they will be available during peak hours of cruising. We've also adjusted traffic days and hours, so they would be available. And we have also entered into an agreement with Sheriff Whitehorn where he allows some of his deputies to come help us patrol the areas. We're also using auxiliary police. They'll go because cruisers tend to go from one to another, and so they can alert us that, hey, they're over here now, bring your resources here. So we have what we think is a pretty good plan to address the cruising and ample number of officers.
So do you find that, like on average weekend, a Saturday or Sunday, is most of this, do they always seem to go to the same spots?
Well, sometimes Fort Park is pretty popular,
Right.
but Airport Park is popular. They go to different locations, and so I guess when they see police is here, they do their homework too. So they do their homework too. So if they find out we're in a certain area, then they tend to migrate somewhere else. So that's why we have a citywide plan that wherever they are, we want to be able to dispatch quickly and deal with that before it gets blown out. So our goal is to deal with it before it gets to be a problem where no one can get into their neighborhoods or get to work. We don't want it to get that way. So we're trying to be proactive instead of reactive. And so we have plans in place to do just that.
So when you get to a spot, let's just say it's just getting started, and I mean, I've seen some of these parks, it's hundreds and hundreds. When you get there and let's just say 50 people have already gathered, how do you go about dispersing them?
Okay, well, we don't necessarily have to disperse them because it's 50 people. If they're abiding by the laws, if they're properly parked, they're not having the music blaring loud like they do, we monitor the situation. We get involved when it begins to get chaotic or it tends to be going toward violations of ordinances and laws. So most of it is a monitoring process. They can go to the park. They can hang out at the park, but we don't want it to get to the point where no one is so congested, traffic, no one can move. Either way, that's a safety concern. They're being out of the cars, hanging out when they're driving, just little nuisance things that can really get out of hand. With our presence there, we tend to thwart that, say, hey, that's not happening. So it's not just a point of them gathering. It's gathering and being chaotic or something like that. So what we do is monitor it to make sure it doesn't get out of hand and make sure that the cars are not everywhere, because sometimes when it's really bad, the traffic is backed up and you can't get one way or the other, and it's really a problem. So we don't want it to get to that.
Councilwoman Bowman, you have anything?
Yes, ma'am. For the citizens that call on Sundays, just usually when I get the calls, in my area, we have a lot of speeding and we have a lot of cars just making circles and got smoke all over the place. So I know that's not an emergency call. Would they just call the non-emergency number to report that?
Yes, and that's what we said, and we would appreciate them reporting that.
Okay.
Again, like I said, we are now going to be out in the field, so hopefully we'll catch it before we start to get an enormous number of calls, because we have eyes out there
Right.
looking for this type of disruptive behavior.
I
And
just
like
don't know
said-
how they afford tires.
Huh?
I don't know how they afford tires. I mean, it's smoking rubber all day.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But like we said, we have qualified people, our traffic units. They're out there now, and they know a lot of the ordinance and traffic laws that can be enforced to try to thwart some of that behavior as well. So
Okay.
I think we're pretty prepared to deal with it.
Okay.
So do you find when you're let's say y'all already have a couple of units at a park, when they start to gather, do you find that they leave, or they just tend to behave, or just the very fact that there's a police presence, I'm assuming, is helpful?
When you have a sufficient amount of police presence,
Okay.
it makes a difference. I'm not going to tell you that if they see one or two, that catches their attention and, oh, we're going to be good. That's not the case. So like I said, the plan is monitor it, okay? It's getting larger, bring more units. Let's not let this get out of hand. Let's address it before it becomes a major catastrophic event, because that can happen. But no. That's not the way it works. Yeah.
Okay, is there much cruising? You mentioned downtown, or the chief did. I haven't heard much about, I guess that would be on the weekends at night if it
Yeah,
occurred.
it depends on different events going on, where they go, because some people like to, and we have to be real diligent about that. And we have our intel people that let us know if there may be a non-permitted event that's being posted on Facebook or something like that. Then we know they may be gathering in that area. So it depends on, like you said, events, time of day, and things like that going on.
Okay.
We are, as most of you may know, the city employs interns during the summer. I've selected our interns for SPD. Two of them, they're both very young and understand probably a lot more about youth culture and how they think and act than I do. So for SPD, that project this summer is a research project. We have one from Centenary and another one from LSU Baton Rouge, I believe. But anyway, that project is going to be to do some really in-depth research on cruising, on the people that cruise, to help us better understand what it is that drive people to do this. So hopefully we'll learn from it and be able to develop some better strategy to try to help with this problem. But we're looking forward to that this summer.
We cruise because we like to hang out. At that point in time, we wanted to show off our cars.
Yes.
We wanted to socialize with other individuals. And the issue is not so much of you cruising, gathering, or anything like that, because I want you to have a good time. The issue becomes for me is when you are spinning your tires inside of the park,
Right.
and creating a drag strip
I
where
agree.
you could spin out of control.
Yes, ma'am.
Or you impeding the flow of traffic. I want you to play your music, but I don't want you to play your music so loud that the entire neighborhood hears it and the pictures are shaking on the wall. Because we
agree.
want you to have a good time.
Yes.
We don't want to have to sit at the park and monitor your activity. But when you go into Ford Park or when you go into a number of the other parts and you see all of the tire marks, then, you're destroying public property. And you can't say that that car won't spin out of control or it won't catch on fire or it won't do a number of things that could possibly happen. That is pretty much what I'm looking at. Because I like when people have a good time at the park, but you remember that you have children out there and families that are out there, that it's not just for you, it's for everybody who wants to enjoy the park. So again, we cruised until Steve ran us off the parking lot.
Steve Robinson,
At McDonald's.
RoboCop got you at McDonald's.
You was cruising?
Oh, yes, Lord.
RoboCop
Yes, I
got
was
you.
wash your car on Sunday, get ready. My mama allowed me to have the car, and I was ready to get out there. But that's what we did. That's what we did, and it was that attempt for us to socialize, with our friends and everything. But I mean, we didn't get out in the middle of the street or to block the flow of traffic or things like that. You all ran us off lots because we weren't supposed to be there.
Sure did.
We weren't supposed to take over McDonald's lot or we weren't supposed to take over the Joy Cinemas lot. If we weren't there, then we'll have to do. I want them to be able to have something to do and to gather and not to think that, okay, police is targeting me that way. But at the same time, I would actually like to, if there are heads of these groups, to talk to them and tell them what we expect at the park. And let's not tear up the park. If you showing off your car, fine, drive through and show off your car and keep it moving to the next car, comes through there. And I think it needs to be that level of conversation, that we have.
That's what I'm really hoping these interns doing this in-depth research on these young people's behavior will give us a much better understanding so we can develop a strategy
Correct.
To help. I think this is going to be well
think so,
worth
too.
their time, and they are so excited about it. They're talking about bringing others from their universities to join in with them, to go into the crowds to help us
Because they
understand.
understand the social norm, and then they
Yes.
understand the language
In line with
it's-
what
that
you're
we don't have.
saying.
We didn't have social media.
But in line with what you're saying, Council, we have that mentality. In fact, the officers that work the cruising,
Right.
we let them know, we don't mind you being here.
Correct.
Okay? It's okay for you to be here, but you shouldn't be doing this, or that.
Correct.
So we are on the same page as
Yes.
it relates to that. Like you said, we only come involved when it becomes a safety
Correct.
issue, quality of life issue, because there's so much traffic, I can't get to my house or
Right.
whatever. So, yeah, we are in tune with what you're saying.
I think we have to make individuals understand that public roads are not a drag strip.
Exactly.
You know, from Airport Drive to North Market,
Yes.
where they would set up 400 strong, to Lakeshore Drive at the end on the parish by South Lakeshore, where they would actually set up entire drag strips, and you can't do that on a public road. You're gonna have to take that to
But we're
Gilliam.
hoping y'all seeing a decrease in that, because
We have seen a significant decrease.
Okay, I was
We've
just
seen a
about to say, because we
significant-
have been,
yeah, it's seen a significant
diligently
decrease
getting
with
out
that.
there to
Yes.
address that.
Okay.
Okay.
Them,
Yes.
them charges you bought me, we
Yeah.
have about worn them out.
I'm sure.
They're out there.
Yeah.
With those that are left,
Yes.
we're wearing them out.
If you get the Bearcat like I
And
asked you
actually,
to
we tried to
Bring
get
your
y'all some
Bearcat out there.
Hellcats, you know,
Hey,
and I'm
Chief, tell
just
about,
saying.
what you tell them, Mr. Sheriff?
Yes.
Chief, what you tell them about the, little SUV trying to catch up with somebody in a Charger?
You're gonna embarrass me, but I'm gonna tell you, a few weeks
Driving
ago,
in days.
one out in his area, was spinning his tires, and an officer gave pursuit in an Explorer, and he was extremely unsuccessful. The more he stayed behind him, the further away he got. He was in a Charger, and we was in an Explorer. And by the time he got to Juella off of Cleveland, the assailant was getting on I-20 going westbound. Officer just happened to catch him. But, you know, they're buying stuff, they're driving stuff that's a lot, they really able to get away from our Explorers. But that's the best vehicle out there for what it's used for. So I may be needing some more Chargers sometime soon.
Tried to get those Chargers. I tried to get Hellcats.
Hellcat would do it.
Okay.
Ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Did you have anything, Councilman Wall, on motorcycle clubs? You're good? Okay. Chief, do we have any, I don't know how you prevent this, but I added to the agenda also under this item, I know in the last week or so, there's been several carjackings or attempted carjackings. Is there anything proactive that can be done to prevent a carjacking?
Usually stuff like that is pretty random. It's unannounced. We have not had a epidemic of carjacking around our city. Behind the incident that occurred a few weeks ago, we're monitoring. We're hoping in the downtown area we don't have any more of that. Just let me say that. But there's not an epidemic across town with carjackings.
Okay, so there hasn't really been a significant
No, sir.
increase in them?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Maybe it's because there was two so close together.
Okay, Chris says we've been dispatched to 3 in 25 year-to-date, and in 24, we had been dispatched to 9 for the same time period. So 50%,
They're actually decreasing.
yes,
Okay,
and all 3 of those are closed from this year.
okay. Thank you. Anyone else on that, the cruising issue? Item E, shots fired map for the last 30 days.
There it is.
Is that up or down from 24? It's down? Do you happen to know the number?
I've got it on the next presentation.
Or are y'all doing a presentation today?
Yes.
Okay, we can look at that then.
Okay.
I've gotten, someone sent me some video the other evening, Chief, we're on to item F, the homeless situation, specifically downtown in the Red River Entertainment District. And we're hoping they would be here to speak, but they're not. It's the manager of the G-Spot, and they had people out on their patio. The weather's been nicer. And these homeless people were harassing them coming up. I don't know if you've seen the location, but it's just like a little wrought iron rail. You can walk right up to the customers. And they were asking for money and had their shirts off and dancing and they look like they, were on some form of substance.
Yes, sir.
But I know you told me Lieutenant Bowman is supposed to be over some, what are we doing about, particularly under the bridge down there, about the homeless situation?
All right. So I had an opportunity to get an update from them this morning as well. They are aware of the reports regarding under the bridge and things like that. So they have an outreach team that they put together that goes out there first to try to say, hey, we have some resources for you. This is not going to be tolerated. They work with the Hope, and they work with different agencies to try to first educate them and give them an opportunity to voluntarily not be in that position. If that doesn't work, they have trained crisis intervention officers that go out there and said, hey, okay, this is not going to be tolerated. You're going to have to move and things like that. So they have a full-fledged plan in place. I tried to see how many. I only saw one official complaint from downtown, and CO, our Community-Oriented Policing Bureau, was made aware of that to address it. So I know they're there, but they tend to move. They tend to move around a little bit, but they are aware of it, and they have put together what they call their outreach team to deal with the downtown.
Do you know if anyone from, with this objective, have any officers reached out to these business owners? Do y'all have any communication with G-Unit or Cassandra's or Fatty Arbuckles?
Actually, I was in touch with Cedric Glover with Downtown Development.
Right, DDA.
And what we're doing is reaching out to all of the owners down there. We're planning a meeting really soon with all of the owners, because what we want to do is get everybody on the same accord in terms of how we're going to address a lot of the issues, not just homelessness, but security and everything. And so we are planning a meeting real soon that's being headed up by Cedric Glover, and we're partnering to get that done.
Okay, I'll get with them because I'd like to attend
Okay.
that meeting. These owners are, they're very frustrated.
Yes.
Obviously, it's bad for business.
Yeah.
What's the final solution if they don't? You said y'all go out first and tell them about other options that they have. If they don't leave, do you ultimately arrest them?
Ultimately, yes.
Okay. Have we arrested
But we don't
any?
want to do that first. We want to try to work it out.
Right.
Yes.
But a lot of them don't want help.
Oh, we find that out. And that's disheartening, but that's a choice that they have to make for themselves.
But the final option is that you would take them to jail.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
This is kind of similar to, I guess, the squatting issue. We have to make certain that there's clear legislation in place that gives us authority, because even though someone may be homeless, it is not against the law to be homeless, and we have to make absolutely certain that we don't violate anyone's right to live, to go on public property. So it's very touchy. It really is. Any of us at any day could be them.
Okay. Final item, you brought it up already, Chief, is I'd like an update on the squatters, I'm calling it a squatters ordinance, the new ordinance addressing squatting. How many total arrests have we made so
It's been
far?
quite effective, and I'm going to bring Madam Squatter back up.
You just stay right up there.
She's a
Chief
cruiser,
Kelly.
a homeless, and a squatter.
Just stay
You
up
get the
there, Chief.
trifecta, ma'am.
Is she gonna be at 3:00 too? Because I have some questions
gonna
for
be
you
right
at
here.
3. Okay.
Okay. All right. So for squatters, we have over 20 arrests. I think it's like 23. But if you could look at the presentation since April 3rd, when we started really concentrating on squatting, we've had 63 squatting-related calls. And it was interesting because it was not just the Highland area. We had a call about a squatter in every district in the city. And that I found interesting. We made over 20 arrests, and we checked the dispositions on them. 12 so far have already been found guilty, pled guilty, and I found that they served an average of anywhere from 20 to 30 days in jail, and some of them have even been fined and put on a program for that. So the squatting thing is actually moving in a very positive direction. We have some pending cases coming up, but because we are following that ordinance to a T, it has been easy for them in the court when they are litigating that matter to say yes. So
Can I give an update?
Yes.
There's been 17 convictions via either guilty plea or plea of no contest.
Okay.
There's a bench warrant out for one. There's 3 set for arraignment.
I'll have to update.
But there's been 17 convictions. Some have been given time for credit served, and some have been given fines.
Well, good job, Madam Chief Squad.
Attorney Edwards, what are they technically convicted of? Trespassing?
It's actually the squatters law, that ordinance that you all passed, 3811.
Right. Occupancy of an uninhabitable dwelling
That-
under the new 3811.
Okay. And Chief, under this agenda item, I got a call from a lady on Fairfield, I believe last week, and I mentioned this to you, and she was quite disturbed. They came back in from out of town, and some squatters had been living in their house.
That is correct.
And one of the responding officers told them they needed to get an attorney, which is exactly the answer that I think that's what we're trying to
Right,
not tell citizens, correct?
right. We fixed that.
You
He
did?
was misinformed. So we fixed it. I personally spoke with the lady. A report was made, an offense report, and an investigator has been assigned the case. By him living there, and breaking into the place, that was more than just squatting. So we're
Right.
on it. The
But
officer was
my
misinformed.
concern was that they were very upset when they called that they were told to retain an attorney. And all the officers have been instructed that, is everybody are all your officers aware of the new ordinance?
They should be, and we are making it another round at all roll calls of training to educate the officers about the new ordinance and to answer any questions or concerns that they may have. Captain Carter started that a week or so ago, and we're continuing it until we get everyone. The officer was misinformed.
Okay. But you've spoken to that homeowner?
Yes, sir, I have.
Fairfield? Okay.
Sure did. Mhm.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
It's just not 2:00. Can we talk about the adjournment before we adjourn?
Can we talk about the adjournment? Oh, yeah, we need to go back and approve the approval of the April 21st minutes.
So move.
Second.
Oh, one,
Do we vote?
Aye.
Aye.
we,
Say-
we,
supposed to
we
say
show.
aye?
Oh, aye.
Need you.
I don't mind voting, but I don't know how I can be, and I appreciate you having me on the committee, but I don't know how I can be on a committee of the council, so that's why I have never voted. Aye.
Councilman Green, you have anything, you want to make it go longer?
No, I'm good.
You all right? Okay, that being said, we're adjourned.
That is funny. You always so
I thought they got one of the new command vehicles.